Hi everyone, thanks for checking back in with the APA Assistant. Today we're going to go over something that's extremely important to your writing, not only in giving your writing a basis in research, in giving authors of other research the credit that's due, but also in avoiding plagiarism. And that's a subject that we're going to talk about today would be in-text citations. So how do we cite work in our text? And one of the first things that we have to realize is that when we cite work in our text, what we're doing is we're basically telling the authors that we've found this in literature and we've found this in research, and that this has been researched and oftentimes presented in peer-reviewed publications or sometimes organizations or government publications. But there's a link that some people miss between the in-text citations and what's in the reference list. So what I wanted to do was show you essentially the same statement a couple different ways, but throughout this I'm going to illustrate how I've used in-text citations to say the same thing, and to ensure that I'm avoiding plagiarism and ensuring that my readers understand that I found research to back up what it is I'm trying to say. So to give a little background, I did some research recently looking at gaps in earnings between students who have just simply attended college. So they went and they attended college but didn't necessarily graduate. If you look at a lot of the popular research, it talks about, it labels these individuals as some college. You have no college, some college, and college graduate. But there are still income gaps, employment gaps, and lifestyle gaps between those who attend college and not graduate and those that actually obtain a degree. Above that just existing, there is something called the sheepskin effect, and essentially this is a term used to explain these differences or to label these differences between having the degree and simply having some college. Even though the two people might have the same skill set, there's typically a gap in living, a gap in earnings. One of the main publications that I used was Crossing the Finish Line by Bowen, Chingos, and McPherson. It's written in 2009. They do a really great job of examining these gaps, but that's kind of beside our point today. So what I wanted to do here was show you different ways to use in-text citation. So I thought what might be helpful is to use the same statement, essentially, with a little variation in a couple different ways to show how this would work. So in this first section of in-text citations, what we have here is I'm not only using information from their research, but I'm also using a specific term that they use. So whenever you actually quote something, as you can see here, I've borrowed this particular word, sheepskin effect, or term, sheepskin effect, from their publication. You have to show that, to show that you're not coining the word, to show that it wasn't something that you came up with. Not only, because there's an ethical situation behind it, but also, if you're a student, your professors are going to use, software such as Turnitin.com, or sorry, Turnitin, or some other kind of software to check this against what's out there, and you want to be sure you do this properly. So, whenever you actually quote someone, you need to provide the authors, you need to provide the year, and you need to provide the page number. So what I'm saying here, significant gaps still exist in the earnings of those who simply attend college and those who successfully complete a degree. This phenomenon is known as the sheepskin effect. This is the literature which says this. This is the year in which that literature was published, and this is the page your readers can find it on. So let's look at this in another way. See, what we're doing is we're going to drop this quote. Let's say that I didn't want to use a specific quote, or I thought, well, the sheepskin effect, people have heard of that. It's not really adding a lot of value by quoting that exact phrase. So let's look at this second example. What we have here, significant gaps still exist in the earnings of those who attend college and those who successfully complete a degree. Okay, so we still need to show the author, we still need to show the year, and you can see we do this in a similar fashion. Up here we do this after the statement but before the period, and everything is inside the parentheses. So in this situation we dropped the page number because we didn't use a specific term out of that book. Now, we didn't do the research, or I shouldn't say that. I didn't do the research. I wasn't, I didn't find the surveys. I didn't analyze the data. So for me to just say significant gaps still exist between the earnings of these two groups is not a fair statement, because I can't say that. It's not something I know for sure. And if I'm going to report this in my writing, then I need to show that somebody else has found this and give those authors credit. So the big thing here is that what we are doing is we're attributing this statement to this research, and this is the format by which we do it. At the end of the sentence, we use the literature and the year, and you can see that when we do the in-text citation at the end of the sentence, we go ahead and use the symbol as opposed to the word and. Okay, so this is a different way to say this. Again, we're dropping the quote. According to Bowen, Chingos, and McPherson, in the year of 2009, significant gaps still exist between the earnings of those who attend college and those that don't. You can see that I've just said the same thing in 3 different ways. The only nuance is that I dropped the quote that we used before, but sometimes this helps. It just reads a little better. According to, you can use this, or the research from, there's all these different ways to show this, and as opposed to just using a parenthetical cite at the end of your statement, you can actually work this into the sentence. So according to Bowen, Chingos, and McPherson, 2009, significant gaps still exist. We can say what we need to say. We can show that it's grounded in research in the literature that exists, and we give our readers a place to go find this research. This is, I believe, a much smoother way for us to cite our work and be safe. So let's say that we wanted to use the term sheepskin effect, and we felt that it was important that that the readers get to hear that specific term. That's arguable in this situation if you're doing any kind of qualitative research, especially if you get into interviewing. It is extremely important that the subject's words are used. People aren't going to want to hear your interpretation of the statements from the person that you interviewed. They want to hear the statements from the person that you interviewed. So many times you'll have a lot of quotes, and that's important and it's good. So let's say that we wanted to use this just to show another example. Bowen, Chingos, and McPherson 2009 describe the significant gaps that still exist as the sheepskin effect. So then we need to add our page number in parentheses before the sentence. So we still have the 3 main parts. Do you see this? Whenever we use a quote, it's critical that we have the author, the research, and the page. We still have this. The author, the research, the year, and the page. We can still say sheepskin effect, give it quotes, and guide our readers to the page where they might find this. So hopefully this is helpful, because you really can use in-text citations in a nearly infinite amount of ways and still be within proper APA guidelines. Just one more touch, or 2 more quick things. One, I thought what I should do is sure I show you. This is the this is the entry, or the what my reference sheet would look like if I was to list this book. And of course, as I'm editing while we're going here, we'll see it should be in double space, and you can see there's my hanging indent. If you have any questions about this, I set up another video for you to be able to see how to set up a template, and it shows how to do the hanging indent there. And also what can be done is in the first use of the paper, you need to write Bowen, Chingos, and McPherson 2009. That's for the case for the in-text, which is actually worked into the sentence, but also the case for these parenthetical cites. After you use after you use the research in each, you can abbreviate this to Bowen et al. If it was inside the sentence, or you can abbreviate this to Bowen et al. If it's parenthetical at the end of the sentence. But again, you have to give all 3 authors or all of the authors the first time, and then you can use this to shorten the amount of space that you need to take to reference the same material, which is here in our reference list. So a quick overview of how to use in-text citations. Hopefully, seeing this same statement really made 4 times in different examples has been helpful. Again, as always, if there's ever anything else I can help with, just leave a comment, and I'll be sure to take your example and show you how to correctly cite anything in APA format. Thanks a lot, and good luck with your writing.